Hello, I'm Ralph Heinlein Jr. This is my 1954 Case SC. It's the last year they made them. It has the foot clutch and the eagle hitch. This is Todd's 1950 Case SC. It has the hand clutch and the 2-point arm in the back. I had a 51, but I got rid of it because I wanted the 54 the last year they made them, because they didn't make a lot of them with the eagle hitch and the foot clutch. I bought it with a blown motor and a cracked block. I got another block for it and an overhaul kit. And in the process, I realized I couldn't get main bearings for it. And you can get them rebabbed, but I didn't want to spend the money. So it's a show tractor and a parade tractor only. I repainted it and has all new rubber on it.
Hi, my name is Eileen Marshall. I'm here at the Beaver Valley Antique Show at Raccoon Township Fire Department. This is my father's tractor, McCormick H, that we've had in the family for well over 35 years. My dad was a weekend farmer up in Chicora. We own 56 acres. He's originally from Pittsburgh. He used this tractor to plant tomatoes and potatoes when we were little, and we all would go up and hang out and help on the weekend farm. Later in life, he gave it to my husband. He blew the engine, and my husband restored it, went back to the farm. Didn't use it very much. It sat up there, bought another tractor just like it. When my father got a little bit older, he gave it back to my husband, and he restored it into this beautiful H that you're looking at. Put a new wide front on it. This is dedicated to my dad, who is Mr. Hazel, Bill Hazel. And we just love it. And it's a great piece of machinery. I'll have it the rest of my life in the family. And I thought maybe you guys would be interested in seeing it. Thanks.
My name's Todd Marshall. We're here in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. This is our annual tractor show for the Beaver Valley Antique Equipment Association. To use the threshing machine, this is the tractor that I use. We use it because this is a 1938 and the machine's a 1938. This is a Case CC. The ground speeds on it are a little fast, but it's ideal for belt work. And this is the engine that drives the threshing machine. So you use this belt. It runs off of the pulley on the tractor. And if you'll notice, the belt has a twist in it. And the twist in it is so that the machine runs the direction it's supposed to be. If you didn't have a twist in it, the machine would run backwards. So this tractor, it's a hand start, doesn't have electrics on it. Sometimes she's stubborn and temperamental. If it doesn't want to work, no matter what you do, it's not going to work. Today, she started for us, so it has a hand clutch, it has foot brakes, and now we'll use it, we'll start it and run it and give you a brief demonstration on how everything works. And I'm going to explain a little bit about what this machine is. It's a as far as we can figure out, a 1938 Frick threshing machine. And that'll separate the grain from the straw. And when this machine was built, they didn't have motors on them, so it's driven by a belt off of a tractor, and they use that as a power unit. And what you have to do is, when the machine's running, you throw the shocks in here. This will throw them into the machine and into the cylinder, and it'll cut the binding on the shocks. Once it goes into this band cutter and self-feeder, and it goes into the cylinder, and after that it goes into the machine. All these belts do a different function, whether they operate the shakers, there's fans in there, it separates the grain, there's augers in here, and sometimes it's difficult to remember how the belts go. So it takes a while to do that. But this machine's been in Beaver County for a long time. I don't think it's even left the county. And now it comes out 3 days a year, and we use it in the show just to show people how they work. So the material goes in there. What comes out here is the grain. It goes up in this elevator and it weighs it. It keeps count. It gets to a certain weight. Then there's a trip dog up there, and it'll send the grain over to this chute, and you can have a bag here. And there's two bags, one to load, one that's being loaded, so you can change the bags after one gets full. The straw, there's a blower out the back, the very end of the machine, there's a straw walker, and it drops off the back, and there's a big fan, and that fan will take that straw and blow it up through that chute, and then out onto the ground, and then that's used to go into the hay press over there and puts the straw back together.
Marburger. I'm a member of the society here of the Beaver Valley Historic. It is the last of the two-cylinder diesels with the starting motor on it. As the starting motor, it has the little four-cylinder gasoline engine in here. You start it on gasoline, and then you shut your compression off in your diesel engine. Then when you get it rolling over, and then you shove the compression lever forward and the diesel starts. And then you shut your gasoline engine off. So after this one, they went to 24 volt starting. So I'll show you how it starts here in a second. The gasoline motor is running now, it's warming up, and it will warm the combustion chamber of the diesel motor up. When it gets started, shut your gas motor off and you're on diesel and you're ready to work. So now it's put her in gear and away you go. You're ready for your day's work.
Name's Bill Marburger. I drove one of these V220 Internationals hauling coal from Harmon Creek to Duquesne Light in South Heights, right around the middle 60s. So this model of a truck has a soft spot in my heart. That was right around the time I started driving. Also, my brother he drove one for Midway Block, hauling out of Shippingport. So the truck seems to was redone by Bud Murray's Trucking in East Liverpool, and it came up here and they decided to sell it, and between the two of us we decided that we would go ahead and buy it. Beyond that, they were a good runner. The truck seems to be, we hauled 25 ton of coal at a time, like I said, from Burgerstown to South Heights, 4 loads a day. And the only thing is, it was like 3.5 miles to a gallon on the gasoline. At today's prices, you wouldn't be able to afford to do that. But we're not going to use it for anything other than running in the parades and just sort of show it off.
I'm John Allison. This is my sister Charlotte Speece and my dad Wayne Allison. What we have here is a 1953 Farmall Super M. It was bought new in February of 1954 by my great-granddad. He had a large dairy farm on McCleary Road. He farmed about 200 acres on it. They called it the Leaning Oak Dairy. And this was his last tractor that he owned. Dad had come across it sitting in a hayfield about 5 years ago. Wasn't running. It was all rusted. Took them about 2 years to completely overhaul and redo everything on this tractor here. Now all we do is take it to the shows. This here is a 1929 Farmall regular. My dad brought it probably about 20 years ago. He completely overhauled it, repainted it, and now all it does basically is sit in the garage until he takes it to a couple farm shows on it. This here is a 1950 some, probably about a 55 Little Giant. It was made by the Wagner Corporation. Farmall actually took this, and that's what they based the Cub Cadet off of, and also they based the International 560 and 460 series tractors off of this little tractor. This is a 1939 Farmall F20. Dad's had it for about 5 years now, and he's done very little work on it. We just take it to shows, and that we're going to be running a 1903 Thresher today with it. What it is, it's belted up back here at the PTO, and it's got to turn a certain way to run the thresher. Right now we'll go look at the threshing machine. This is a 1903 #1 champion threshing machine. It was made in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. They made them from like 1897 to 1910, and the closest that we can find out, it's around 1903. Now what you do on it, when you get bundles of wheat, oat, or barley, you can put it up here. Then the operator actually stands up on this platform and feeds it in. And what it does, it takes the wheat, shoots it through here, through the fan and everything, and it separates the wheat from the stalks. What it is, the stalks will come out the back, and then the wheat, you actually have to have a bag or a bucket on the other side of this machine, because you can't hook a bag up to it. Put it in a bucket. Once the bucket's filled, then you dump it into the bags.
I'm Andrew Mahalik,
I'm Brandon Mahalik.
and this machine originally was down at Brownsville at the Pike Steam Engine Show. Mr. Weaver was the original owner that I know of, and my brother-in-law, Chucky Smith, worked with him, and they did grinding of wheat and corn, made into meal, and they sold it. And Mr. Weaver asked Chucky did he want the machine, so they made a deal. My brother-in-law had it down there for many years, and for some reason I don't understand, he was leaving Brownsville, so he gave it to my wife. And Bill Winkle and Wayne Fowler we went down there, we loaded it up and brought it up here to my place. We bring it up here once a year. But if you look at the painting on this, move aside, Brandon, he painted this whole machine up. And it's made, you can see where it's made at, Bellevue, Ohio. And that's all I can tell you about the machine. It still works. And he does work on it, so that's all I can tell you.
Okay, my name is Paul Blake. I live in Georgetown, Pennsylvania. This is a David Bradley, was sold by the Sears Company. They was quite popular in their time, but they're really hard to operate. They're bad to operate. This is a burr mill made by McCormick, and that's what they done their grinding with on the farms. And then they was replaced with a hammer mill, which put them out of date. This is a Hercules engine, and Mr. Mahaffey used to live in Georgetown. He's the one that helped me work on this and got this one running finally. It was a basket case when we bought it. Okay, this is a no well pump. Most generally it went in the kitchens, and they would pump out of the cisterns with them, and that's how they got the running water. This is a Nelgen engine, and it's an odd engine because the crank's on top and the cylinder head's on the bottom, and it's a rare engine. They don't make them that way anymore, they're reversed. And this is a John Deere tractor that I bought, I think, in the late 70s or early 80s. It's still all original as it was, and it still runs real good and will mow.
My name is John Swords, New Cumberland, West Virginia, and this is a International Harvester Type B feed grinder. It's for grinding ear corn into cattle feed, cob and all. And it was made beginning in about 1906 up through the 1940s. And it's belt driven and it needs to be run from a stationary engine. We've got an International Harvester type LB stationary engine, 1.5 to 2.5 horsepower. This particular engine was built in 1945. It's hopper cooled, this is just green water, and it runs on regular gasoline. And we're going to belt it up to this feed grinder and run it. We're going from this to this because cows like to eat this better than they like this. This is a Type M self-dump hay rake manufactured by International Harvester. It could be set up like it is now for a team of horses, or this double tree could be removed and a single tree put in here. These thills, they call them, are moved out and you can set it up for a single horse. At the end of the row, whenever you want to dump your hay, you'd step on this and it would engage cogs here, and the momentum of the rake would actually dump it. So they call it a self-dumping. The operator doesn't have to do anything other than just trip it, and then the horse does the work. These were manufactured for quite a number of years, up through the 40s, and came in several different widths and configurations.